Hello, it's the end of March and it's time for a vegetable garden tour. I'm Zorab and this is Byther Farm. It's been an incredibly wet and blustery March, but I have managed to get out here to do some things. I have moved some of the bunching onions. So I've lifted some of the bunches and I've removed all the compost that I can from them, and then I've teased them apart and pulled them apart to make sort of individual plants. And then I've put them in 2 rows on this side of bed number 1. And my plan for the other sort of just over a half is that will have rows of salad in it when it's time to sow them direct, and also to plant some of the salad plants outside. Beds number 2, 3 and 4 have actually had very little happen to them other than me to go through and try and weed them, although I'm now seeing how many weeds I've missed. But I have got a large number of weeds out from in those beds and lifted a lot of the bunching onions from in bed 4. Bed 5 had purple sprouting broccoli in it, and it's also got elephant garlic. Now we've had plenty of purple sprouting broccoli, which I've got to say I'm really pleased about. And so as that finishes, I'm just cutting off the stems. I'm leaving the roots in there to rot down naturally. Then there are a couple of other brassicas which hopefully won't just run to seed this year, but will produce some cabbages, we'll see. And I've started sowing my seeds of parsnips in here, so there'll be a row in between each of the elephant garlic. And if you'd like some step-by-step instructions of how to grow some of these veg, I'll leave links in the video description, and also you can find all of those guidelines over on my website, bytherfarm.com. This year, beds 5 and 6, together with the 2 over there, these are going to be mostly ornamental, although there will be some edibles because there'll be some herbs in here and possibly some salads as well. But I have now got in the standard roses that was given by my husband for my birthday, and lots of the ornamentals are really starting to grow well now. Bed number 8 has had a big change this week. Where previously it had brassicas growing in it, it's now got broad beans or fava beans. And I sowed those beans about 6 weeks ago. I let them germinate in the house, and as soon as they germinated, I brought them out to the coolness of the polytunnel, and they've been growing in root trainers, which are designed to allow your plants to grow quite long, sturdy roots before you plant them out into the garden. And I've let them grow till they're about 4 to 6 inches tall, so that they're really robust plants. As you can see, it's covered in netting, not to protect it from birds, but to protect it from the neighbourhood cats. Because the soil has recently been disturbed, I don't want them thinking that they can come in and use this as a loo. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to come and build my support framework for these beans. And I do that by using canes and string zigzagged across and around. And I'll make sure that I leave a link to my video that shows you exactly how I do that. To me, there's nothing more exciting than when we start seeing blossoms on trees, and this is just a beauty. It's called Prunus snow goose, And all these beautiful white flowers, pure snowy white, dangle down. So when this tree gets bigger and we're looking at it from underneath, this is going to be amazing. But for now, while it's still this small, I have to get up close to admire just how beautiful all these flowers are. I find it really hard to remember what I planted when, and I've designed this vegetable garden planner and journal to be able to keep records of when you've sown plants, when you've transplanted them. There's illustrations, there are photographs, there's sowing guides, there's hints and tips and ideas and inspiration right through it. And it's a great way to keep all your veg garden information in one place. And you can order your copy of my vegetable garden and planner either on my website, bytherfarm.com, or on Amazon. And at the beginning of March, I decided to turn the compost heap. So basically I took everything from that one there and put it into here, leaving behind the compost that was ready to use, but putting into here everything that hasn't yet broken down and needs some more time. Over the next few weeks I'm going to be exploring some other ways to make compost, because I could really do with an awful lot more compost than I'm making at the moment. Bed number 13 has got some herbs. I can see it's got a very healthy dandelion, but not anymore. And I know dandelions are a great crop for lots of people. We have a huge number of them here. There's lots and lots of them in the field. So I'm going to let the ones in the field grow and keep the ones out of the beds. There's still some celeriac to be harvested, and there's plenty of marjoram growing there. I'm really pleased to see how well these beds are coming together, how full they're looking with the perennials that I put in 2 years ago. Bed number 14 has got a sage at this end and a thyme there, and then there is a dwarf Jerusalem artichoke here. I can see it starting to regrow, so hopefully that's going to look lovely. Here is a fennel, and I actually think it's a bulb fennel rather than a herb, but it's regrowing. I'm just going to let it grow like that, and I'll just use the leaves. There's plenty of monarda and agastache, and I can see some echinops there, and yet more marjorams down this end. And then bed number 15. Last year I sowed parsnips in here and they didn't really grow. Well, now I can see little tiny baby ones. There's another Asturian tree cabbage, there's some beetroot, but most of all there is this wonderful display of rhubarb. When you harvest rhubarb, you want to pull the stem gently away from the base. Don't cut it off, because that leaves you the potential for infections to get in and water to get in. Whereas if you pull it like this, nature does it all very cleverly for you. But one thing you do need to remember is to remove the leaves and compost those, because these are highly poisonous. You don't want to poison your family for the sake of having some lovely rhubarb sticks. And here in bed 16, I have some more rhubarb. There's 3 of a variety called Victoria, and 1 over here called Sutton Seedless. There's another peony here, and some ferns, and then lots and lots of herbaceous perennial ornamental plants. I'm going to be transferring a lot of these into the food forest garden this year, but for right now they're staying there. Here in the polytunnel I've mulched 1 bed with some bought-in compost, and so now I'm going to plant in some red Russian kale, I've sown salad leaves in at that end. I've planted in a couple of plants there. And yesterday I planted the last 3 modules of broad beans in here, so that they would grow quicker and I could have a few to harvest a little bit earlier. But now on inspection I found 2 of the plants have been chewed off completely, and the other plant has, although it's got roots, the seed has actually been nibbled away, and this is the result of some sort of vole or rodent that's been in and helped itself to the beans. And this is exactly why I grow them in root trainers raised up off the ground on my swinging bench, to try and protect them from this kind of attack. And here on my swinging hanging bench, everything is doing really nicely. So things that I have potted on are growing well. Lots of seeds that have germinated and grown their first and second true leaves have been separated out and planted into individual modules, and I'm remembering to come in and water on a regular basis. Just here are some peas. These will be planted outside when they get to about 6 inches tall, so that they don't suffer the same fate as the broad beans in the polytunnel. And if you'd like to see exactly how I made this hanging table for all my seedlings, I'll leave a link on the screen, and if you click on that it'll take you straight through to that video, and I'll also leave it in the video description.